Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're heading just west of central Hong Kong into Sheung Wan. Now, this isn't just any old district. Our sources really point to it as the foundational core for the Chinese community right from when the port first opened.
Absolutely. And you
Yeah.
really have to understand the initial setup. Early colonial rule meant strict spatial segregation. The Europeans, well, they took the peak, the prime spots near the sea,
Okay, so naturally that pushed the growing Chinese population where?
upwards, into the areas around Taiping-shan, which became very crowded and, frankly, not well planned. But this tension, this spatial pressure, was actually crucial
Tough so.
because the colonial government wasn't really managing the needs of this huge community effectively at first. So the Chinese community had to build its own support systems, powerful ones like the Tunghua Hospital and especially the Nampak Hong trade guilds.
Nam Pao Kong, for listeners maybe not familiar, just how influential were these guilds back then?
Oh, immensely. They were the backbone of commerce, even social welfare to an extent. Nampak Hong means south and north goods. They controlled the trade in high-value stuff, tea, medicines, dried seafood, moving between mainland China, Hong Kong, and Southeast Asia.
Wow.
Yeah. So Sheung Wan wasn't just geographically upper compared to central. Culturally, it became the high ground for Chinese tradition and this really strong self-reliance.
Right. So our mission today is to sort of unpack that resilience. We'll look at 5 linked stories tied to hidden gems you can still find, showing the conflict, the compromises, and, well, the sheer tenacity of this district. We really have to start with a major crisis. For decades, the authorities kind of ignored the sanitation problems in those crowded Chinese areas near Taiping Shan Street.
They did, and that neglect had a terrible cost.
Mm.
It led directly to the devastating 1894 plague outbreak.
That must have been catastrophic.
It was a massive blow, particularly bad between May and September that year, and it finally forced the colonial government to take drastic action. Very heavy-handed action, actually. Mandatory demolitions, huge cleanups, imposing public health rules by force.
And there's a place today that stands as a direct result of this forced social purification,
There is. It's our first hidden gem, Blake Garden.
named after Governor Sir Henry Blake.
That's the one. The garden sits right on land cleared during that plague cleanup. So its existence marks this really pivotal, though traumatic, shift. Modern public health, city planning. It came at the cost of displacing so many people. It's kind of where Hong Kong started its painful journey from being just an unruly trading port to becoming a modern city.
So when you visit Blake Garden, you're standing on that history, but for a deeper, maybe more human connection to the cost.
Yeah, look nearby for the Quang Fuk Yi Chi.
Uh-huh.
This place actually served as a Chinese charnel house during the plague, a temporary resting place for the dead. It's this quiet, powerful reminder of the community's own efforts to cope, to rescue themselves amidst the disaster. Really gives you a sense of the desperation, but also the fortitude.
Okay, so crisis-forced modernization. Let's shift focus now to how culture endured, particularly through trade. We're heading downhill a bit to Koxing Street, Medicine Street. What made the street so important globally?
Koxing Street became the absolute hub for that Nampak Hong network we talked about. It specialized in traditional Chinese medicinal materials, dried seafood, ginseng, all the high-value stuff. Its location, the shipping access, made it the place for collecting and distributing quality TCM goods. It really peaked, I'd say, well into the 1980s and 90s.
And the resilience of Chinese medicine, TCM itself, is quite a story here, isn't it?
It is, and it's kind of an accidental preservation story. During really turbulent times on the mainland, like the Republican era, Hong Kong was relatively stable, or at least the colonial government was quite hands-off about TCM.
They didn't try to regulate it much.
Not really, not then. Which inadvertently made Hong Kong this unique safe haven for preserving different schools of Chinese medicine. Good doctors and good medicine, as they said. It sheltered a vital part of Chinese heritage, almost by neglect.
And it wasn't just about high-end trade, right? There was a real social care aspect, too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially for the working poor who couldn't afford Western doctors. You hear stories from the 40s and 50s about Taoist temples working with the medicine shops here, offering free diagnoses, herbal pastes, helping laborers with things like setting broken bones. It was practical community support.
And the hidden gem of Gushing Street today?
Just breathe it in. Even now, you can catch these faint, rich smells of aged herbs, expensive aged tangerine peel, things like that. It still lingers.
But it's not the global hub it once was.
No. Its decline reflects bigger global shifts, really. Changes in customs policies in mainland China and Southeast Asia. they've gradually reduced its dominance. It kind of mirrors how volatile global trade can be.
Interesting. Now, I want to follow up on something. If the Chinese community had these powerful structures, the guilds, temples, why the drama around something as basic as taking an oath in a colonial court? Let's pivot to that tension between belief and law at Manmo Temple.
Ah, yes. That's a classic colonial governance puzzle.
Okay.
Before 1889, the court had a big problem. How do you make an oath stick if the witness isn't Christian and won't swear on a Bible? The Chinese community wasn't fully woven into the British legal fabric yet.
So what did they do? What was the workaround?
Well, the pragmatic, temporary fix was to allow a traditional ritual from southern China. It's called chopping the chicken head and burning yellow paper.
Chopping a chicken head in court.
In the court precincts, yes. It was a ritual originally used by coastal communities, often fishermen, to settle serious debts or disputes. The oath was bound by fear of divine punishment from popular deities like Guangong or the sea goddess Tianhao if you lied.
That must have seemed incredibly strange, even shocking to the British officials.
Oh, absolutely. Some reports called the court a market temple because of it. But it was seen as a Kwani Ziji, a necessary expedient, a temporary measure to make the legal system function, to include the Chinese population somehow.
But temporary it was.
Exactly. By 1889, the colonial elite, people like the Attorney General Thomas Anstey, argued it was undignified, ineffective against perjury anyway, and just embarrassing for the crown. So it was banned. It marked a definite push towards modernizing the judiciary, standardizing it along British lines, and moving away from these culturally negotiated practices. The hidden gem, Manmo Temple, still stands, a symbol of that powerful clash of cultures and legal systems.
Okay, moving on to another layer of culture, this time through a different kind of commerce. Lesker Row, known to many as Cat Street, famous for antiques. We should probably address the name Moluo first.
Yeah, the name itself points to the diverse history. Molu was a term used to refer to people of Indian descent, specifically the police officers or sailors, the Lascars, who were very active in that area early on.
So the name comes from that linguistic contact.
Precisely. While we need to be mindful of how terms evolve and can become sensitive, its origin was descriptive of the mix of people there. And the market that sprang up reflected that mix.
A cultural stew, as some sources put it.
That's a good way to put it. It was this very fluid flea market. You had colonial officials selling things, sailors bringing goods from overseas, locals trading, everything from Chinese antiques and curios to Western imports and just general bric-a-brac. It had a really unique mixed character.
Which contrasts quite sharply with other streets nearby.
Definitely. Think about Gough Street, just a stone's throw away. That street had, and still has, these very established traditional Chinese businesses. Shops like Yu Yat Lam selling specific goods, often for over a century. Deep roots.
So the hidden gem here is really that contrast, experiencing the difference.
I think so. You get the sort of transient, eclectic, international flavor of Lascar Row right next to the enduring stability of the old Chinese shops on Gough Street. It shows the different facets of commerce coexisting. And interestingly, there are modern efforts now, like using AR technology in the nearby Graham Market, to create interactive tours everywhere there are Graham cats, that kind of thing, to bring this history alive for visitors today.
Turning history into an experience, that's key. Now let's dig into the money behind the district. The story of wealth and politics in Sheung Wan is really embodied by one family, the Li Xing family.
Yes, Li Xing was a major tycoon in the 19th century, made his fortune in money exchange, trade, built a huge property empire. You see his legacy in street names like Li Xing Street and significantly Kosheng Street, right by Medicine Street we just talked about.
But it's his son who adds this unexpected political dimension.
Exactly. His son, Li Qitong. He got involved with Sun Yat-sen's revived China Society, the Xingzhongwei. And the records show he became arguably the single largest financial backer of the revolutionary uprisings against the Qing dynasty.
Seriously, pouring his inheritance into revolution.
Yeah, reports suggest he sometimes spent nearly his entire fortune supporting the cause. It's quite remarkable.
So the economic freedom Hong Kong offered was being directly channeled into political change across the border.
Precisely. That's the bigger picture for Sheung Wan's role. Chinese merchants here used Hong Kong's unique position, its economic opportunities, its political separation, to turn the district into, effectively, a logistical command center and a hidden treasury for the revolution. So when you stand on Litinistine Street today, you're literally on ground built by wealth that helped fund the overthrow of an empire.
So, as we look back across these stories, The plague and forced modernization, the enduring strength of Medicine Street, that bizarre chicken head oath in court, the cultural mix of Cat Street, and then this revolutionary funding. The thread tying it all together seems to be this incredible resilience of the Chinese community here, this constant push and pull between holding fast and having to change. Jianshe Yutubian, as the saying goes.
Steadfastness and transformation, that captures it perfectly. And I think the real value of visiting these places today, these hidden gems, isn't just seeing old buildings. It's understanding the incredibly complex human choices they represent.
Like what?
Well, the agonizing choices forced by the plague, the deep conflict between faith and colonial law at Manmo Temple, the way immense wealth intersected with dangerous revolutionary ideals with the Li family. It really reframes Hong Kong's story away from just being about colonial administration. It's fundamentally a story of Chinese struggle, adaptation, and cultural self-awareness.
And it makes clear why things like those AR tours, the modern efforts to explain this history, are so important. They turn these details, the stubbornness of TCM, the merchants' political generosity, the legal compromises, into something meaningful, into cultural capital that attracts people looking for more than just sightseeing. People like you listening.
It's about giving the past weight, giving it context that resonates today.
Exactly. So we'll leave you with a final thought to mull over. If Sheung Wan's history shows us that prosperity could fuel revolution, like with Lu Tong, and that terrible adversity, like the plague, could force modern governance, what hidden pressures or maybe overlooked opportunities exist in the city today? What might be quietly setting the stage for the next big transformation, something that future generations will look back on and give a name to?